Genshin has finally revealed the entire Nod Krai cast, and popular consensus around the internet is this might be the greatest batch of designs we've ever had, and as such, many players are struggling who to pull for and where to spend their gems. So in this video, we're going to go over the most likely timeline for all the releases of the new characters, as well as best guesses for all the reruns. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. And a reminder that if you're enjoying the videos, make sure to consider subscribing. As a thanks for all the support, I am going to be doing 2 more giveaways for Nod Krai, one in 6.0 first half and one in the second half over on my Twitch, so make sure to come follow me over there. First things first, to preface this whole thing and to explain why I'm confident in making a video like this right now. There was an individual who predicted the exact date and time of this Nod Krai teaser. They predicted an Electro male Lightkeeper character. They predicted Durin would be Pyro, and they don't have any confirmed wrong predictions as of now. As such, a lot of the information in this video should be fairly reliable, but I will update the pinned comment if anything has changed. So if you're watching this a while after posting, make sure to check that out to see if it still holds up. And I'm obviously going to tell you when things are confirmed and when things are my own speculation, so don't just look at the sheet, you gotta kind of actually watch the video. Obviously for 5.8, we already know the banners, so I'm not gonna spend time there, but I put them up here first half, second half, just so you have them available. According to our predictor man or woman, I suppose, Flynn's is going to be the 6.0 first half character. He's supposed to be an Electro DPS, either using polearm or bow. He said one and then said the other. I couldn't quite pinpoint which one was first. When I make my Flynn's videos, I'll go into that more. I predict Yelan is going to rerun. Not only did she just get her skin, but I think they're gonna want to put a Hydro character on banner, as a lot of the Lunar reactions seem to rely on Hydro, and it's a good time to take advantage of the Yelan hype again with her getting the skin, and before she gets power crept in the future, she should be a good partner for Flynn's and Inefa. So it's just a good time to release or to rerun Yelan. Iono, or however you say her name, I know. According to Prediction Guy, she is going to be the free 4-star and she is going to be Hydro. She does not at all look Hydro to me. So this will be one of the biggest tells. As soon as we get Ino's element, if it's Hydro, we instantly know that this guy is really, really legit, because I don't think you could ever look at this and say that looks Hydro. This gives Electro or Dendro to me, but hey, I do regardless of what element she ends up being, I do definitely expect her to be in 6.0 and to be a free 4-star character. The second half is going to be Lauma. She is predicted to be a Dendro Bloom support, supporting all Bloom reactions. Not too far off from what I predicted in my video. I kind of thought it would just be Hyper Bloom, but supporting all blooms makes sense. I believe she'll rerun with Nahida. Nahida will probably be one of the better partners for her at launch, and then eventually Nahida will probably fall away for some newer Dendro unit. So I think they'll want to take advantage of Nahida stocks rising. I think the Sumeru Chronicled makes a really compelling argument for 6.0. Obviously with Nahida rerunning, if she's a Bloom support, then Alhaitham and Nilou and Cyno should all be getting a buff, and it just makes sense to rerun them all at that time. Boost up those 6.0 numbers. It just makes way too much sense. Of the 6.0, Flynn's, Ino, Lauma are all backed up by Prediction Man, whereas Yelan, Nahida, and the Sumeru Chronicled are my own speculation, but I think it makes a lot of sense. For 6.1, the Prediction Man said that Durin would be there, that he would be a Pyro off-field support, fulfilling a similar role to Bennett and Xiangling, which is insane. Prediction Man also said that Veresa would rerun in 6.1, and that Neuvillette would get a skin in 6.1. I'm throwing my own speculation into the ring that Jahoda is going to be a 4-star and join Durin on the banner. And I expect her to support Vape, or maybe be in the second half, actually. That could be as well. And perhaps they'll run her with Arlecchino. I think it's about time for her rerun. I'm sort of relying on this rerun counter that one of our Discord mods have made. You can find it linked down below. So I generally go by this when I'm doing my rerun predictions. So it should be Zhongli's time. They usually like to rerun an Archon. And I think Arlecchino just makes sense, both with rerun timeline and as Durin would obviously be a best support for her, for Veresa, etc. It just makes a lot of sense. Prediction Man said that Nefa would be in 6.2. She's supposed to be a Dendro Bloom DPS, so the on-fielder for Llama's off-fielding. And I'm predicting that Neuvillette and Farina will run in this patch. Neuvillette just got a skin. A Farina rerun makes sense because, again, they like to run an Archon, and I think that they'll want to rerun the Hydro Archon before they put out Columbina, so that people don't think to pull Columbina and then decide they don't need Farina now. I think they'll want to maximize Farina revenue by running her first, and alongside Neuvillette makes a ton of sense. And then I put Clarant here because, as per the rerun sheet, it's probably her turn to run. 6.3 is when my speculation gets a little weaker, I think. I just don't know what they're going to do. There's just nothing really to go off of, so I just sort of threw stuff together. Leakerman says that Columbina 6.3, she's going to be the region's Archon-like character. This we know pretty much for a fact now. We do know it for a fact. And I think it'll be a good time to rerun the Skirk Escoffier combo. I don't know, like, it just seems to make sense timeline-wise. They'll want to rerun Skirk and Escoffier before too long, and really stacking the patch like this to make people spend makes a lot of sense to me. Obviously, it's a dirty move, especially if you don't have Skirk and Escoffier, and Columbina does end up being a buff to Skirk teams. Obviously, she'll be a buff to tons of teams, but if she does end up working with Skirk, then this is a really nasty patch. And then I threw Ryo on here because I couldn't think of what else. 6.4 is going to be Lantern Rite. I have Madame Ping here. She's been predicted to be playable every single year. Prediction Man did not predict Madame Ping. This is my own speculation, and I don't necessarily think that Madame Ping will be the Lantern Rite character. It could be a totally brand new Leeway character, and I expect a brand new Leeway 4-star here as well. I don't think we have anything to go off of who it'll be, but I do think that a Leeway Chronicled would make sense, and so that's why I haven't put Hu Tao rerunning or some other characters before then. I think this might be a good time. A lot of these characters would be due for a rerun by then. As it is Lantern Rite, they'll probably want to boost spending, so Moika and Shalonen would make a lot of sense. And then I put Navia because she goes with Shalonen. So yeah, this is kind of what I think for Lantern Rite. I'm feeling good about this being Moika's rerun time. They love to release like big Archon selling characters, and they could also put Citlali again for 6.4. I could totally see that, but Shalonen needs a rerun, and then Navia is also Geo, so that's what I think. I think it's too early for a Fontaine Chronicled Wish, if that's what you're thinking about Ryo and Navia. I think there's not, once you do too many Chronicled Wishes, there's not enough characters to rerun. And I think Fontaine is recent enough that they don't yet want to do a Fontaine Chronicled. I think that'll wait till next year. 6.5, Prediction Man has predicted Varka. I think since we're getting Varka, it'll be most likely a Mondstadt callback update with Venti, and then a Mondstadt Chronicled Wish right after a Leeway Chronicled Wish. Seems a bit sus. Maybe that's not going to happen. I just threw it there. I hope that they increase the frequency of Chronicled Wishes. So this is probably a ton of hopium. It's probably not going to happen. I threw Kaniche and Emily on here. It's just what I just threw stuff on there, but who knows. And then 6.6, we've got, I think Nicole will take the Skirk slot. Sorry, Alice will take the Skirk slot, and Nicole will probably be a 5-star support for her, maybe released in the same patch. I don't know. Kind of like a Moika Citlali situation. And then Raiden should need a rerun by then too. According to Prediction Man, Sandrone is not going to be playable during 6.x, so I guess 7.x or later for these guys. I don't know who will be playable and who will not be, but I just wanted to put these up here. Any excuse to put Renova on the screen. And then I have a couple of Fontaine characters that were left behind. Inazuma Chronicled that was left behind. I think obviously it gets more and more sus as it goes along. I think early on should be quite reliable, and then getting past Lantern Rite, we're getting much more into the sketchy territory. Obviously, everything is subject to change, and the Prediction Man might end up being totally crap, but I think it's fun to talk about anyways, fun to speculate about anyways, and there are some good reasons to think that it might be true, but if it ends up being wrong, I will update the pinned comment. So once again, subscribe if you're excited to see my Flynn's prediction video. That's coming next, and if you don't want to do that, that is totally fine. Just watching the video has been more than enough. Thanks so much. Bye for now. Has been more than enough.